Hello, my name is Andreas Kretz. I'm not a data scientist. I'm a data engineer and a big data platform architect. So I'm working in the background. I'm doing all the things to get the data, basically from, for instance, from a machine, do the processing, do the storage, figure out how to get the data then to the data scientist, so the data scientist can actually do his magic and do the actual analytics and provide value to the customers. And yeah, it's a more hidden profession. It's not as glamorous as, look at me, I'm having done this deep learning model that is doing something really cool. But it's a fun profession. It's very versatile. It never gets boring. So yeah, I love it.
Great. Well, Andreas, thank you so much for joining me on Humans of Data Science. I know you mentioned you're not a data scientist, but I think without data engineering, we couldn't do data science. So
yeah. The thing is, I know some stuff about data science, but or let's say about the data scientist job, because I'm working with them, and I know stuff about regression and clustering and so on, and deep learning, because they need to apply it. But I'm not a practitioner in this specific type of field, so I'm more working on Hadoop and Kafka and Spark and all those tools, how to figure out what exactly do you use in which case, and how do you process the data so it fits already some kind to what the data scientist needs.
Mm-hmm. Right. And okay, so what I wanted to start talking about is your Plumbers of Data Science podcast. I think you're the only one doing, a podcast focused on that. And I wanted to hear, what can people expect to hear on that podcast? What do you talk about?
Yeah, so the podcast, actually right now, the podcast is more or less what I do at YouTube, but only then as an audio only. I started with the Plumbers of Data Science podcast because I'm always saying the engineering is like the plumbing. It's in the background, it's hidden, but it's a huge mess if things are getting done wrong or something goes wrong. And I'm focusing not on machine learning. I'm focusing on the actual application of the tools. As I said, I'm focusing on how do you build a platform with, for instance, with Hadoop, and how do you use Kafka and stream data to Spark and have a batch job or a streaming job. So it's all the background, what you need to build a platform and do the engineering work. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so I saw a few months ago you posted an article on Medium. It was called A New Scope, where you spoke a bit about your podcast, and you mentioned that you're not going to do any editing. It's going to be kind of raw recorded materials. And I wanted to ask, what was your motivation behind that decision?
Yeah. So to be honest, I'm doing light editing right now. But the idea here was, I'm in the future I'm going to do this live. Right now I'm just practicing, so I'm doing this offline. The idea was to switch more into data engineering. Is when you look at LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, it's full of data scientists and it's full of machine learning and so on. And I figured out this is not what I do. This is not what I'm really good at or what I want to do. So I'm coming from a computer science background. So I have a university diploma in applied computer science. This is more it's hard to translate. It's the appliance part. It's more a mechatronics a diploma with computer science on top of it. So it's so that you apply it, for instance, in Internet of Things use cases. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was doing in Germany we have state certified technicians. This is a computer science course, 2 years full time, where you learn everything from computer networking and so on. So yeah, programming. I really got into Java coding and so on. So I figured out while I'm doing while I did the data science post, this is not who I am, and so let's stick to what you know and what you can do best.
Okay, great. And you're doing a lot for the community. You were named the LinkedIn Top Voice in Data and Analytics by LinkedIn. And I wanted to ask, where do you find the time? I know you have kids, you have a full-time job. So how do you make time for all this extra stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, usually if it fits, I'm working at night. So right now it's almost 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm doing an hour in the evening, and then in the mornings 5 to 7, and then I'm basically getting ready to work, helping the wife get the kid into the kindergarten, and then I'm working my usual job, and then family man, and then time for the wife.
Yeah.
And then when she goes to bed, I'm doing bits.
That's super impressive.
It's a crazy ride.
Okay, so what's one thing that most people would be surprised to know about you? Oof, yeah.
That I'm actually doing this. So I haven't I haven't advertised this in the family or among the friends. So the only thing that some friends have seen that I'm doing this whole social media and YouTube stuff and podcast is when I edited a video for a marriage. I've done some
like a wedding video?
Yeah, a wedding video, and then I uploaded it to my YouTube, and Andreas has a YouTube channel.
That's
So
very funny.
This would be a surprise to a lot of people.
Yeah, I had to do a walkthrough of some new software for my job, and I used my skills of creating videos and screen recording, so I put that together quickly, and people on my team, they're like, what are you, some kind of editing expert? I'm like, no, I didn't know I do it either. So, all right.
Yeah. Where did you learn all this?
I know. Andreas, so what is a goal that you have for yourself for the next 12 to 18 months? It could be personal or professional.
Yeah, for me, it's getting awareness to the whole data engineering part. So I want to build a community that is more focused on data engineering than on data science, because it's super important. If I'm looking for or if I'm having job openings in this field, it's hard to fill them, and I have the feeling, I don't want to step on any toes here, but I have the feeling that many people who are getting into the data scientist route were actually better in the data engineering route. And it's a problem, because the data scientist is so hip right now, and it's hard to get good people for data engineering who are already qualified, and it's super important, because without this, doesn't work. It's not that with a data scientist you have like Kaggle competitions where you download the data sets and fumble around, and then you then you have a cool thing that you can show. It's a lot more complicated, and to get the data and to pre-process the data so the data scientist can actually work with it.
Yeah, so data scientists, I mean, people claim that they spend 80% of their time cleaning data, right? And I guess what data engineers do is they first collect the data from sensors or whatever, and then they pre-clean it, pre-process it before it even gets the data scientist.
Yeah, you basically bring it into the right structure for the right task, I would say. It's not like you're You're cleaning the data in terms of it's easier to process for the data scientist there. So you're filtering out some stuff. It's more like bringing it into the right form, and then he is doing all the pre-processing that you've mentioned, the 80%. Yeah, it's what I can see from our data scientists. It's a lot of the actual pre-processing is a lot of work. That's true. That's absolutely true. And it's the problem, especially in the field I'm in the IoT field, is data is messy. It's super messy, and I'm working on basically the full stack. I'm working on machine interfaces, so REST API, from REST APIs to processing, storage, and then user experience tasks. So it's I'm doing the whole platform thing, and that's
all right. Well, so the last question I have for you today is, what do you like to do in your spare time, since you probably have so much time to spend?
Yeah, I'm a huge music nut. So I'm a 60s blues music fan. Absolutely. And I have a Gibson Les Paul waiting under the bed, which basically never gets played. So if I would have time, sometimes I'm going to get Goldie out and play some stuff. Yeah.
Nice, very cool. All right, well, Andreas, thank you so much for being on Humans of Data Science.
Thanks for having me, Kate. It's an honor.